erinnere mich noch so gut dran, als Andrea und ich vor knapp 3 Jahren mit einem geliehenen VW-Bus in Portugal unterwegs waren auf Urlaub. Irgendwo entlang der Atlantikküste hat Andrea dann ein Lied aufgedreht, bei dem mir das Herz aufgegangen ist. So als würden die Lyrics darin und die Worte und die Art und Weise, wie die Musik komponiert worden ist, direkt zu meiner Seele sprechen. Und ich habe Andrea nur gefragt, so, geile Nummer, wer ist das? Und Andrea hat gesagt, das ist We Are One von Sam Garrett. Ja, letztes Jahr, fast forward, im Frühling, war Sam für ein paar Tage in Costa Rica und hat gleich bei uns um die Ecke ein kleines, sehr privates, intimes Konzert gegeben. Und wir waren da natürlich dabei. Und was soll ich dir sagen? Seine Musik zum ersten Mal live zu erleben, habe ich als ganz großes Geschenk empfunden. Die Vibes, die da entstanden sind, diese liebevolle Atmosphäre und Sams sehr geerdete, dankbare und freundliche Art haben mich zutiefst inspiriert. Ja, wir haben uns dann noch ein bisschen kennengelernt, ein bisschen gesmalltalkt, nicht mehr, nicht weniger. Und heuer ist Sam dann wieder nach Costa Rica gekommen, um mit seinem alten Freund Roman auf Costa Rica Tour zu gehen. Roman, der übrigens in Folge 88 im Podcast zu Gast war, zum klingenden Thema Stay Open to Life. So haben die beiden übrigens auch ihre Tour benannt. Ja, wenn du das Interview mit Roman noch nicht gehört hast, ganz große Empfehlung, hör unbedingt mal rein in die Folge 88. Ja, und ich habe irgendwie dann das Glück gehabt, dass Sam hier eingezogen ist in der Casa Verde, da wo auch Andrea und ich leben seit einigen Monaten. Und wir waren dann 2 Wochen lang Nachbarn hier, haben gemeinsam am Pool gechillt. Ja, ich war dann auch immer wieder dabei, wenn Roman und Sam ganz spontan ihre Instrumente geschnappt und miteinander gejammt haben. Und wie dann so kleine Circles entstanden sind, wo plötzlich 20 Leute rundum gesessen sind. Ja, großartig. Ich muss dir nicht erzählen, wie groß meine Freude ist, dass ich Sam Garrett für ein Podcast-Interview begeistern konnte und dir diesen wunderbaren und inspirierenden Menschen heute vorstellen darf. Herzlich willkommen zu 1000 First Steps, deinem Podcast für das Größte in dir. Mein Name ist Jakob Horvath und meine Vision mit diesem Podcast ist es, dir gelebte und greifbare Spiritualität in all ihren Ausdrucksformen näher zu bringen. Eben zum Beispiel, indem ich Geschichten mit dir teile, wie zum Beispiel die von Sam Garrett oder ganz vielen anderen Lebenskünstlern, Musikern, Coaches, Abenteurern, spirituellen Lehrern, Menschen, die auf irgendeine Art und Weise die Dinge anders machen, die ihren Traum leben, die ihre authentische Wahrheit spüren, um dich dabei zu unterstützen, deine Authentizität zu spüren, zu erleben und auf deine ganz einzigartige Weise zu entfalten. Denn bist du nicht genau dafür hier, um dich daran zu erinnern, wer du wirklich bist und warum du hier bist? Und auf dieser Reise zu erkennen, dass du alles, wonach du je in deiner Außenwelt gesucht hast, längst in dir trägst? Das Interview mit Sam öffnet ein paar wunderschöne Räume, wie ich finde, in denen du auf diese Fragen neue Antworten für dich finden kannst. Schon als Kind hat Sam seinem Leben größere Fragen gestellt und schon sehr früh hat er gespürt, was für ein Mysterium diese Reise eigentlich ist. Im Interview sprechen wir über seine bodenständige und ja, ich glaube auch deshalb so unglaublich kraftvolle Spiritualität, die so viele Menschen berührt und begeistert durch seine Musik. Über seine Verbindung zur Rastafari-Kultur und seine Liebe zur Reggae-Musik. Wie wir zu mehr Frieden in uns selbst finden können, ist auch ein großes Thema in dieser Folge. Und wir sprechen über eine tiefgründige Botschaft in seiner Musik, die die ganze Welt heute mehr denn je hören soll.
Beyond our purpose in the physical world as a musician or whatever it may be, beyond that purpose there's a higher purpose for all of us, and it goes beyond our talents or our abilities, and it's really to find oneself, because if you find yourself and you know thyself, then you'll be free, you'll be happy and at rest.
Diese Reise des sich-selbst-Findens, wie man ja das so oft auch hört. Und ich glaube, es ist mehr ein sich selbst erkennen, ein an sich selbst erinnern, als ein sich selbst finden. Diese Reise beschreibt Sam auch als Play of Life. Und zu diesem Spiel des Lebens gehören eben alle Erfahrungen dazu. Die, die wir als schön und angenehm empfinden und natürlich auch die, die wir am liebsten gar nicht erst erleben würden. Und besonders spannend finde ich, wie die Kraft und die Präsenz eines Gurus uns hier begleiten kann und unterstützen kann. Und Sam erzählt von seinen Begegnungen mit seinen Gurus, mit denen er in Indien und Portugal gelebt hat und die ihm dabei geholfen haben, sich selbst in seiner ganzen Wahrheit zu erkennen.
If I seek myself in somebody or something, it will turn out to be suffering. But what he showed me is that we are one. That what I see in him, that presence, that light, that being, that at rest, at home, is here.
Als kleines Geschenk teilt Sam ein paar der wichtigsten Bücher und Videos, die ihn auf seinem spirituellen Weg begleitet haben. Unter anderem von seinem Guru Muji in Portugal. Du findest die Links dazu in den Shownotes. Ja, und ich bin so unglaublich dankbar dafür, dass es diesen Podcast gibt, dass du diesen Podcast hörst, dass ich mit Menschen wie Sam solche Gespräche vor dem Mikro führen kann, um sie dann mit dir zu teilen. Ja, danke, dass du 1000 First Steps hörst. Danke für deinen Support. Danke, dass du hier mit am Start bist, dass du ein Teil dieser wunderbaren Community bist, dass du mir Feedbacks schickst. Ohne euch gäbe es diesen Podcast nicht. Und ganz ehrlich, eure Feedbacks motivieren mich immer wieder aufs Neue. Eure herzlichen Worte schenken mir immer wieder Mut und frische Inspiration, um auch weiterzumachen, den Podcast weiterzuentwickeln. Wenn dir 1000 First Steps gefällt und du meine Arbeit unterstützen möchtest, dann teile deine Lieblingsfolge in einer Insta-Story zum Beispiel oder auf Facebook oder auf einem anderen Kanal deiner Wahl. Schick deinen Freunden den Link zu einer Episode, die dir gut gefallen hat, wo du das Gefühl hast, ja, die könnte auch meinen Freunden weiterhelfen. Teil den Podcast, mach ein bisschen Wirbel drum. Ich würde mich wahnsinnig freuen. Ich freue mich auch immer riesig über Rezensionen auf iTunes. Wenn du möchtest, schreib mir dort, warum du den Podcast gerne hörst. Schreib mir auf Instagram unter jakob.horvath unter dem Post zur aktuellen Folge, was du dir aus dem Interview mit Sam für dich mitnimmst. Und jetzt wünsche ich dir eine super Zeit mit Sam Garrett. Sam, welcome to the podcast.
My
so
pleasure.
Delighted to have you here.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Yeah,
Thank you for making the time, sharing a little bit about your journey, your music,
Yes.
your love for life.
Yes.
And I think that is one of the topics I'd love to talk about with you more in depth. Because I feel ever since we met last year, first time down there in Casa Verde,
Yes.
and also through listening through your music, and there is so much, I feel so much life force energy transmitted through it. And I just love to dive deeper into all of that and see where this conversation is going to lead us.
Yes.
But first and foremost, how are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, very good. Very, very happy to be here in Costa Rica and, to be spreading my music and this message and this vibration with the people, with the world, and for me, getting to travel around and share this music with others, getting to sing with others, creating a safe space where we can come together and feel, is a very powerful thing for me. So I'm very grateful, very, very grateful to be here and just to be in this nature, in this amazing jungle, this vibrant, alive expression of life, It's very powerful. So give thanks for life. And very happy to be here.
How did you end up in Costa Rica at all? How did that come along?
I don't really know how it happened. I remember last year when I first came and I met you before, it was through, I had some friends here already, and they'd already been saying, Costa Rica, come to Costa Rica, some places, maybe you could play, and like this, I get many requests to go to different places around the world, in Bali and other places. And somehow it was just the right time. It was just a time and a moment where things were open to come here during that period of time with COVID and other things. So I was able to come and it was a beautiful experience. And now I'm back again. So very happy.
Welcome back. And you're going on tour.
Yes.
Costa Rica tour, Stay Open to Life.
Stay Open to Life tour, with my brother Roman, who I know you know and has also been on the podcast.
Who's been on the podcast a couple of weeks ago.
And he's a dear brother of mine from London. I've known him for many years, and we used to work together in a vegan cafe and in Camden Town in London. And now he's living here, and I was on the phone to him not long ago, and I had the idea. I was like, it could be cool, to do like a little something together, maybe like a little tour around Costa Rica, and like that, it just came into fruition. It just came into manifestation, and now I'm here. So
it's just been flowing, it seems, huh?
Yes.
And also kind of a revival, right? Because you've been playing music for a long time in London together.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Yeah. We haven't played together really like this for a long time, so I think for both of us, it's like a real joy and a celebration, because whenever we sing together, there's just a lot of joy, and a lot of happiness.
I can confirm that 100%. We were sitting actually right here 2 weeks ago when you guys were jamming here at the pool, and I felt like, wow, you look like two people playing music together since a very long time, but you actually haven't for a long time, and then still you're so attuned to each other.
And actually, that was the first time for a long time that we'd actually played together in that way, and this is the thing, is like when it comes in that way where it's effortless and it's natural, then that's my place. That's where I want to be, because that's when it's right. It's coming from the flow of life. It's coming from that God field,
Let's touch base on this in a little while, but I'm sure many of those listening already know your music. But for those who don't, who is Sam Garrett?
Well, who is Sam Garrett? I would say that through my life, I've always been drawn and gravitated towards the spirit, the very essence, the heart of life, the mystery of it all. And from when I was a very young boy, I would always question life, and how did we come here? Like, who am I? What is all this? And as you get older, you do what you do, and you get into whatever and go through life in whatever way. But that always remained, this questioning, this kind of, there's something here, I'm a part of this great thing. And I couldn't understand or fathom, but I knew there was something. And I feel that throughout my life, I've always been drawn to these either places or traditions or mysticism or yoga or medicine, whatever it is. And I feel that my music is a reflection of that. My music is a reflection of my journey and my path, but also, I would say, the core, the essence of life itself. And if it has any purpose, it's really to bring all of us into that unified field where we remember again that we are one, regardless of what skin color we have, where we come from, our belief system, our conditioning. Really this music is a way for us to come back to that core, that essence. And in that place, there's no doubt, there's no fear, there's no worry, there's no projection of what's to come or what was. There's just a being, a beingness, a here-ness. And that's really, what I feel I would like people to receive from this music, because the music is the medicine, because it has the power to bring about great change, connection, love and depth. And
there's even one song called We Are One, actually. I think it was the very first song that I heard. Andrea was playing it on a road trip in Portugal, where you live now, actually, so maybe we can come back to that later, but funny enough. And We Are One, first song I heard from Sam Garrett. I was like, wow. Just what you just shared is transmitted through only that song and many other songs. It's something you can not only listen to, but also feel that there is much higher forces at work
Yeah.
in the way you compose your songs, write your lyrics, play your guitar.
Yeah.
Just a little feedback here from...
Yeah, and this song is very special to me, but I always, whenever I open with a set of my music, you know, if I play, like on this tour, for example, I will always play that song first. Yeah. Because this song, for me, it says everything that I would ever want to say, and that was how the song was written. If I only had one song, what do I really want to say? You know, what's really the message? Yeah. And that's why I always start my show with this song, because then if everything, the power goes out and, like, you know, there's a big storm or something, at least I've said what I needed to say.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's a good entry point for me. It's a good way to start, you know. And So.
You said you, as a little boy already, you were wondering about the bigger questions of life.
Yeah.
Which I find quite extraordinary that you already had that, obviously, that curiosity for a deeper meaning in life, it seems, as a child.
Yeah.
When can you take us back to a moment in your life when you first discovered that there is a connection between your musical talents? You grew up in a very musical family.
Yeah.
And your spirituality that you, I'm pretty sure, didn't really know how to put into boxes at all at that young age. But when was a point in your life where you realized, okay, there is something much bigger to all of that and I want to follow that path?
Yeah, so when I was very young, like a very young boy, maybe like, 5, 6 years old, I have these memories of going to sleep at night. And when I would go to sleep at night, close my eyes and I would go into this space of vastness, of beingness, of presence, of peace. And I didn't understand it. And I would open my eyes and I'd come and I was still, I'm here in my bed. And I would fall asleep and then, the next night would come with the same experience. And it happened for some time. And I knew that this place, something in me felt like this place is God. This is what I feel this is God. There's just some intuitive feeling. So these experiences, when I was very young, I didn't really understand. It was just like a thing that would happen, and then I would just go back into life, and I kind of forgot about it for a while, and became a teenager, and all of this stuff, would go out drinking, and I tried all the things, and parties, and
playing in rock bands.
I played in rock bands, in punk rock bands, in indie rock bands, and something wasn't satisfied, because some place in me knew that place. There was a knowing, there's something more here, and all of this is fine, but it wasn't penetrating deep somehow. And at a certain point, I had this a moment where I just said, I can't do this anymore. This life, I don't want this life. This drinking and playing in these bands and traveling and doing all this stuff. It didn't feel right, and it was a hard moment for me, but it was a very profound moment, because the people that I was playing with were very close friends. I'd known them for a very long time, and we were very close. But I had to say to them, I'm sorry, but I'm going on my own journey now. I need to go on my own path. And so I almost turned my back on a lot of people at that time, a lot of friends that I was hanging around with. And I started to spend a lot more time alone in nature, and I was very influenced by Eckhart Tolle, and I was listening a lot to his audiobooks. I would ride my bike in the village to another village where I grew up, and I would always listen to him. And then being in the nature, and then it had a very profound effect on me. The nature was very... And this is really when there was a shift between what was happening inwardly was then becoming expressed through the music. And that started with my first EP, which is called Be Easy. And these songs like The River and Be Easy, they're kind of, you can feel the essence of nature within them, because really nature, that point was my guru, was my teacher. It was showing me, just to slow down, to just become one with this great happening, this great unfolding. And that was really the point where I started to realize, no, I can use this music somehow. This is my path, you know. It took me a long time to understand all of these things because, you know, you had to go through other things first. But there was that point where I became very clear, you know, and that was when my first EP that came out, my solo EP that was where I started to feel like, okay, this is my path. You know?
Was that recognized by like broader audience already?
I don't think it was recognized in that way. No, it was still very like underground and you know, this kind of thing. And
the reason why I'm asking, because I think many, especially musicians, they put a lot of emphasis and get a lot of value to the music from feedback from the outside world. You know, how much it's recognized, and especially when you start off on your path, as you said, and I reckon it takes a lot of courage and also belief or confidence in your path to keep following it, even though it's not broadly recognized yet, and you know it's your thing. I mean, today it's easy because now it's widely recognized, right?
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Back then, probably wasn't.
For sure. I think for me there was always a sense of this is just what I'm meant to do, and I didn't have this feeling so much of like success and like, you know, fame and all these things. Like, and even in the beginning, you know, I had managers and people that I worked with, and I went to visit many record labels, big record labels in these big offices in London and all these things, you know, but inwardly I just knew that like it's not about that. There's a deeper meaning, you know, and even if it's one person or, you know, 3 people or 50 people, it doesn't matter so much. It's the being true, you know, and I feel that when you are true to yourself, then others will also gravitate towards you. And I think that...
Your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yeah, and I think for me that was like the case, you know, that it was growing very organically, you know, and still like I don't have so much like promotion and big money going into what I'm doing, you know, but it's very organic, but still I feel that God allows the right people to find the music.
What you just described, this very authentic expression of oneself, of yourself, of, you know, finding and following your own path, despite what other people think. I think that's something that many people are concerned about at the moment, and more people waking up to that reality that there is more to life, and they are eager and curious to discover it, yet they haven't found the answers yet, or feeling kind of lost between an old world and a new world that slowly starts to unfold for them. What has helped you on your journey to connect deeper to that authenticity in your life? I know you have had some great teachers, and I would love to talk about that too. But what were the main things you'd say, okay, or somebody listening now, what could you tell them, you know, what helps you to find this authenticity? What has helped you on your journey?
I think, I feel that beyond our purpose in the physical world as a musician or, you know, whatever it may be, beyond that purpose there's a higher purpose for all of us. And it goes beyond our talents or our abilities. And it's really to find oneself. Because if you find yourself and you know thyself, then you'll be free, you'll be happy and at rest. And this is what my great master and my great teacher, Muji, I call him Babaji, has, this wisdom has been imparted to me and have been shown also by him to verify the truth.
How did he show that to you?
Through his being, through his being. But the thing is, you know, with any great teacher, with any great master, they cannot do it for you. You know, it's like the finger pointing at the moon. I can show you, look, it's here. But we have to seek and to find. We have to look within to see. And so he showed me, but also what I realized is that I cannot lean upon him. And I cannot lean upon anyone or anything in this world, because everything is changing. Everything is moving. And so if I seek myself in somebody or something, it will turn out to be suffering. But what he showed me is that we are one. That what I see in him, that presence, that light, that being, that at rest, at home, is here. And I've been able to see it in myself through his mirror.
Yeah.
And
you can only see it in him because you already have it in you.
Yes, we all.
We all.
That's how one can even recognize one who is at rest, because there's some place within us that knows that.
Yeah.
And it's the very truth, the very essence of who we are, but somehow through our conditioning and through our upbringing and through our lives, and even through our aspiration to become someone, it keeps us separate, or seemingly separate. Or just like how the sun or the moon can eclipse the sun, you know? But the sun is still there, or the clouds can hide the sun. It can be a really black, cloudy day, you can't see the sun, but it's still there, you know? So this is also our predicament, is that our conditioning somehow veils this. And I feel that this understanding and recognition that is unfolding within me throughout my life, constantly being verified to me through all these different experiences, and high and low, good and bad, you know, negative and positive, painful experiences, but also beautiful experiences, all are somehow contributing to our awakening, to our growth. And
so beyond this duality of light and dark and high and low and good and bad, there is this beingness, there is this authentic, very being that we are in our hearts, in our souls.
Yes, exactly that. And I feel that's why you know, when we sing mantras or we sing these songs to God, you know, hallelujah to the truth, you know, we're really just, we're honoring that, you know, we're showing our gratitude for this, because this life is the world, the play of duality. Like you say, good and bad, this and that. I have my own beliefs of what is right and what is wrong, and you will have yours. And so we're all looking at life through a very subjective lens of, like, you know, our own experience. But beyond that, there is a substratum with which we're all here in this place. Nobody can explain that. I can't speak of that. But it's a knowing somehow throughout your life. You start to come to see that everything else is changing, everything else is moving. My relationships, my friends, my family is in another place. Everything is shifting. The dynamic of life is always playing. And I think through that, there is some wisdom or maturity that comes to really see what's really here. Because everything else is unstable. This body is also going to go. You know, I try so hard to cling on to these things, but ultimately I'm seeing that all just leaving. And even my very identity, you know, all these things, it's going to change. So what's really true? And when you inquire, and this is what Babaji has helped me to see, and many great saints, Ramana Maharshi, Sri Punjaji, Yogi Ram Surat Kumar, Ananda Mahima, Neem Karoli Baba, all these great saints, whether it's Christ, Buddha, Rastafari, for me it's all one, you know, it's all pointing back to that core truth, which is righteousness, love, peace, wisdom, and presence. And this for me has also helped in my music, because I no longer feel like I'm this person doing this thing. But somehow life is just moving through this body, and songs come through and I express them, and but it's not, I don't have the sense of it's me doing it, you know, it's just something is happening and I'm just watching the whole unfolding of God's beautiful play, you know.
So if you want to put it in a very simple way, all we have to do really in life is to, you know, get out of our way.
Yes.
Bring the ego out of the way, and you know, get out of the mind and open up that space to have that divine consciousness flowing through you.
Yes. Yeah, I feel that whenever we take ourselves personally, we become very serious, and we're on a mission, and we've got an agenda, and we're doing this, and this is who I am, and I'm spiritual, or I'm this, or, you know, we take on these labels and we believe that's who I am. And that's a very heavy state to live in. It's a very, we build up a lot in our house. We buy a lot of things and we put everything in, but we can't carry that forever, you know. And so at some point we have to almost start cleaning the house, sweeping everything out and coming back to zero, to just nothing, and just to that being. And
I think that can be a relief for many people also to hear that, because I think also another big trend that has unfolded in the past decade, I'd say, is that self-optimization. You know, I have to create my best version. I have to optimize myself in this way, and I have to meditate and practice yoga 5 times a week in order to, you know, become enlightened or whatever the goal is. But that's just another way of identifying yourself.
Yes, it can be,
with a certain reality, and it puts a lot of pressure on you. When I understand you correctly, all we have to do is, you know, cleaning the dust from the mirror in order to see clearly who's in. What is really true for me.
Absolutely, and we can do all these things, you know, like I love yoga and I love life, you know, it's not to push anything away, but to more, you know, we just start to see that ultimately it's not in those things that I will find my fulfillment, because everything is an experience, whether it's yoga, surfing, ayahuasca, meditation, whatever it is that we try to use to become free. Ultimately, all of that is beautiful because it's all expressions of life, of God, of consciousness. But it's not to get caught in that thing of like, oh, when I can get on my yoga mat, then I'm free. Then I'll be happy. You know? Because if you're doing that, then you're putting your happiness somewhere else. It has some condition, you know. And the greatest discovery has to be that happiness which is there naturally, without anything. Even if things aren't going the way that you want them to go, or you project they should go, there's a knowing inside, there's a happiness that is so vast and so infinite that is it doesn't matter how life, there's almost a sense within that says, come what may, whatever may happen right now, it's okay. Whatever happens, it's okay, because you're at home. And when you're at home, you can rest.
Has there been a major shift in your life, or a major, like often it comes through crisis, for many people it comes through disease, or some major setback when you suddenly realize that what you just said? Has that been the case for you, or was it rather a slow, organic process that unfolded?
Yeah, I've definitely had moments of challenge and pain, and you know, these moments of doubt and fear, and I feel like, you know, one of the greatest teachings from my guru is to remain in this state of gratitude, whether it's high or low, pain or pleasure, to just say thank you to life, to keep saying thank you for the bitter and the sweet. And I feel that the negative experiences, or the seemingly bad experiences, they have their work to do. Suffering is a necessary part of our growth, because it helps us to become more humble and to have more empathy and compassion for others, what they may also be going through, and to never see yourself as above somebody else, but to always just remain in harmony with. And so for me, I feel like I had a very blessed upbringing, you know, I'm very close to my family, have a very deep spiritual connection with my family. But still, in life, you know, nobody is exempt from negative experiences. It has to come, you know, in one way, shape or another, you know, it has to come. And I'm grateful for all of it, you know, like whether it's meeting very, very, you know, wise, profound beings and benefiting from their wisdom, or other experiences with friends or relationships or family or travel, or you know, all the experiences of life, I feel they're all contributing something to our evolution.
And if you look at it from a much higher perspective, everything is part of this consciousness. Everything is divine. That's what you said on the back seat also when we went to the kirtan the other day in our car, and we talked about that. When you get to realize that this is what we came here for. This is why we chose that earthly realm, that body, to experience all of it, the whole spectrum. Not just to be happy. I feel like happiness is a side effect, right? It's like rather a side effect of becoming true to yourself and living from the heart in an authentic expression of whatever life brings you.
Yeah.
And I think many people have heard that, and I have heard that for like, I don't know, so many times, and I read books, and you know, it's when you understand it intellectually, it's one thing. But then to embody it, and I think you're, to me, a very inspiring example of how that can look like when it's embodied, when it's lived, actually. Reminds me of that short story in the yoga shala down there last year when we first met, when you showed up there, and I just said hi to you and said, "Hi Sam, I just wanted to let you know that I really love your music. It has touched me deeply, it has inspired me, I love listening to it." And you were looking at me with so much humility. And I still remember your words, and you said, "Thank you, that means a lot to me, brother." As if you heard that for the very first time, and of course you haven't. But the way you received it and the way you responded to it was filled with gratitude and humility. And that was such a beautiful and profound experience for me. And I'd like to ask you, how important is it on this journey of spiritual awakening to cultivate those qualities of gratitude and humility?
Yeah, I feel that these qualities, they come naturally the more that we're discovering ourselves and who we are, you know, beyond just this idea, this identity, you know, because we can try to cultivate these things, but I feel that these things, these qualities are inherent within us. Sri Ramana Maharshi, a great sage from India, he said, all good qualities manifest, arise spontaneously from the one who is awake. It's not that we have to go cultivating and trying all these things. This is just like, it's just here, you know, and you know, whenever I hear in this way, you know, when somebody comes and they share with me, it's always a blessing for me because I've also been touched in this way. And so I know this, you know. So really when you're saying this to me, I'm seeing myself in you and recognizing again the ways in which we are the same. And this for me is a very beautiful thing because this is what it's all about, is this connection, this oneness, remembering again why we came, not to get lost in life and the world and confused. And maybe we have to do that for some time, but to again come back and return to that place of remembrance. And so for me it's a great joy, you know, to receive that.
Let's talk a little bit about your guru, Muji, and the other masters that you have come to connect with in your life. Because I too had the experience in a Zen monastery, you know, being in the presence of a Zen master or a guru in an ashram. Those highly awakened beings that just through being present already spark something in you. And I think it can be, to many people who find themselves a little bit lost on that path, it can be something very valuable and precious to find a guru for themselves. But is it something you actually find? Is it something to be found by? Is it something to just where you resonate with and then you know it? How did that come along for you with Muji? How did you find him?
You know. When you feel it, you know. It doesn't matter, even if everyone in the world said you've lost your mind. It doesn't matter, because inside there's a clarity. When you have that resonance and that feeling, that vibration, it's just a knowing. It's just wow, this is it. For me, it came when I was traveling in India, and everywhere I would travel, the different places, the different parts of India that I would go to, I'd be sitting with people, maybe in a cafe, having a chai, or on the beach, or somewhere in the mountains, and his name would come up in conversation because I would speak about Ramana Maharshi, who is the guru of Muji's guru. And Ramana Maharshi is almost the reason why I went to India, because I was so touched by his presence and his simple truth. Simple. There was nothing complex about it. Very, very simple. And it just spoke to my heart like nothing else had at that time. It was like, And so I said, I have to go to India, I have to go to his ashram, even though he wasn't there, he'd left the body many, many years before. I have to go to his ashram, and I wanted to just sit in the cave where he used to sit and live in this cave. And so I did that for some time, you know, and it was very profound, very powerful. I had many profound awakening experiences at his ashram in Tiruvannamalai in the south of India. And even while I was at the ashram, people were telling me, oh, you know about Muji? And I was very kind of stubborn because Ramana was so alive for me. And his teaching and his presence, it was my world, it was everything. Because that just awakened that love, you know, deeper and deeper inside of me. And so when people would tell me about Muji, I was like, I kind of shrug it off, you know, like...
I already found my guru.
I'm good, you know, I don't need it. And it's funny because I've never really been a dogmatic person. I've always struggled with dogma. I never liked it when, you know, you have to follow Christ, otherwise you're going to hell, or you have to follow Krishna, Krishna is the way, or it's this way and this is the only way. I've never really been drawn to that. I've always been drawn to this oneness, this openness, and to learn from all the different traditions, all the different ways of life, not to be so stuck in one. And so when people would tell me, it's ironic because I was like, no. Because I was so satisfied somehow with what Ramana had shown me. And then I got to Rishikesh, and when I got to Rishikesh, Muji's poster was everywhere because he had a satsang there in Rishikesh. Yeah. And that was the first time where I saw him. I saw a picture of him, and I realized, wow, he's a Rasta. He's a Rasta man from Jamaica. And I started to talk to some people about him, and they'd had some very profound experiences in the satsang with him. He wasn't there when I got there, he'd already left, but the satsang had happened, you know? Yeah. And I'd always had this deep connection to Rastafari, you know, and Africa and Jamaica and this roots, you know, this tradition. And so something made this connection of like, wow, it's like the two things I love the most, which is Rastafari and like satsang and Hindu tradition, philosophy and Advaita, you know. But still something inside of me was like, no, you know, and I ended up leaving India. When I got back home from India, I opened up my laptop that was in my parents' house. I'd left it with them before I left. And I opened up the laptop, I went on YouTube, and it came up with this video by him. And as soon as I saw the video, even though I'd, you know, heard about him, knew about him, as soon as I saw him on the video, it just completely like awakened something inside of me. It was like I just knew in that moment, this is my guru. Like this is the one in this life to take me home. I just knew intuitively.
Beautiful. Wait, and you opened the laptop and on YouTube
it came with Muji.
Just coincidentally that showed up? Wow.
Because of all the things that I'd been searching before, you know, and all the other videos that I'd seen. But in that moment it came, and it was just the right moment for me to see him, and
now you were ready for him.
Now I was ready, to fully, just something spoke to me. I can't really explain. These things, it's not so rational. It's just it's grace. Actually, it's grace.
When the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Exactly.
And then you went to his ashram in Portugal, I believe.
So then many other things happened. Like somebody had actually sent a video of me performing some songs to him, personally to him, and he'd, you know, seen the video, and then they started to listen in the ashram some of my songs. I didn't know any of this. In this time, I was just watching his satsangs and was really benefiting from the satsangs. It was just all I wanted to do. It was just like drinking it in, you know, like eating it all in, like taking all the nutrients from it. And then I got an email, and it was an email from him, and it was a video message from him, and just saying, Sam, we're so touched by your music, and you know, your devotion to Sri Ramana, to Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, and you know, just so touched. We'd love to meet you. We'd love you to come and to sing for us in satsang. And
it resonated.
And so I was just like, wow. You know, somehow it was just life bringing us together. And this is the thing that I found. It's like, even if you try to push something away and say, no, it will come again and again and again until you accept and surrender. But it's always there. Life is always giving us what we need, you know. And I couldn't go to Portugal at that time because my partner at the time was pregnant, I was having a baby, and I was recording an album, and all these things were happening in London, so I couldn't go. But then Babaji came to London, and that's where I met him for the first time. And as soon as he walked into the room, it was like a mountain, you know, it was just this deep presence.
Yeah.
And when I looked into his eyes and I saw him for the first time, like we're sitting now, it was like I'd known him forever.
Yeah.
It was like I've known you since before time, before the creation of this entire universe. I know you. And
your souls have recognized each other.
Yeah, it was just a deep feeling of yeah, I just see you, I know this place, you know. And so then after this time, then I went to go to Portugal and lived in the ashram for some time, and now this is my home. Is in
you live close to the ashram, I think?
Yeah.
Your daughter is also there. She's also 6 years old now.
Yeah.
Her name is Maya, I think.
Maya Flower.
How is your relationship to her?
Amazing. Yeah. It's been a very profound journey for me. Also, it's just helped me to become more humble, more playful, more innocent. She's been also my guru. It's like Ramana Maharshi, he never had a guru, a physical guru. And in India, it's kind of a thing that it's a tradition that you have to have a guru if you are a teacher. It's because the lineage goes that the wisdom is passed down from generation to generation. And when he was asked, but Bhagavan, you never had a guru. He said, life is my guru. Life is my teacher. Yeah. And I feel like this, you know, like with my daughter, she's also my teacher. She's my best friend. You know, she helps me to see the beauty in life. She helps me to see the things that, you know, maybe I wouldn't see sometimes. You know, like, hey, look at this flower. Hey, look at that. Wow, look at the
childish curiosity.
Yeah, it's like Christ said, unless we become as little children, we will not enter the kingdom of heaven. You know, this innocence, this playfulness, this lightness, this curiosity, this wonder and awe of life. You know, we talk about the stars and the universe and, you know, and God and life and the magnificence of this great experience, you know. And also we just have a lot of fun and we hang out and we do other things, you know, and it's all a great journey.
Yeah. What comes up for me right now when you share this is many people, I think me included, have been asking themselves the question, so what if we would have never forgotten who we really are? Because we come to this earth as a baby, as a child in this body, and we are so playful and curious and one with life, and we don't, you know, we want to know everything, you know, why is this, why is that? You know, and then we get conditioned, we go to school, we flow into those societal patterns. And what came to my recognition recently, only in the past year, was, but we do need to forget.
Yeah.
We do need to forget on this journey through life. It's part of the journey.
Yeah.
So that we can remember again.
Yeah.
And then remember with wisdom, with that life experience, with the ups and the downs and all the setbacks and maybe some crisis and trauma and whatever one experiences. But now taking all of that into that remembrance of who we actually are is now becoming a child again, but a very wise one. Would you agree to that? Is that something that resonates with you?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is that when you said, you know, like, why do we have to forget? But we have to. It has to be like that. Yeah. It's a necessary part of our experience, you know, and as consciousness, you know, becoming awake to itself. And this is the whole lila, the whole play of life, you know. And I feel that each one has to go through that, you know. And I know with my daughter, she has to go through the whole thing. Like each one of us has to. We have to taste all the different things of life. It's just how it has to be, so that we can again come back to that truth, that essence. And it's like there's a saying, through hardship comes wisdom. You know, sometimes we need the friction in life for us to go beyond the surface and to break into that expanse and that rest and that peace. And if we don't have the friction, sometimes we don't get pushed, you know. So God is very wise. God knows exactly what to do, you know. And this is why more and more in my journey in my life, I just keep coming back to that faith on, you know, to rest in God's love.
Do you have certain routines that help you with that? Certain practices that you do? Something you could maybe also recommend to people listening? Yeah, I wanna come back to that too more often. How can I do that?
I wouldn't say that I have like specific practices in that way, but I have many things. I would say that, again, it's whatever resonates with your being, you know. For me, there's many things that I love to do. I love to surf, I love to skateboard, I love to listen to reggae music and dance. I smoke herb and dance and get into that spirit, you know. I love to sing mantra, I love to do yoga. Many things, but ultimately it's to just come back to this moment. Wherever you find yourself in the world, in this time, you know, whatever situation, noisy or quiet, you know, wherever you are, it's just to be here, just to be fully here, and then from this place, like whatever you do, it will just be blessed. It will be a blessing, you know. Like there's this beautiful teacher and also living in Portugal. Her name is Gangamira, and she was the wife of Papaji, which is Muji's teacher. And I went to see her not long ago before I came to Costa Rica. And one of the first things that she said in the satsang, in the gathering, is live life without preference. And it just detonated something inside. It was like, wow. Because when we have so much preference and agenda of things have to be like this, and I have to do my practice, or I have to do, you know, again, we set these conditions on life. And truly, when we live without a preference, it's like every day is your best day. It doesn't matter how it unfolds. It doesn't matter what happens, how it goes, because you're already here. And so usually, most of the time at least, I have this feeling that when I wake up, it's like, okay, I'm here, you know? And wherever we're going from this moment onwards, it's okay. Whatever needs to happen, you know, whatever needs to play out, let it be so. So you can still have your dreams, your visions, your goals, your plans. But the freedom comes when you don't attach to it. It gives you some direction. But when you realize, okay, now it's time to let go of it and live without preference, I think that's when it really becomes that living in accordance to your true being, and then having it flowing through you. Reminds me of the song line of We Are One. I think it's from We Are One. Like, you must surrender to life. Surrender to life. Because also if we have these ideas that, you know, if I get what I want, then I can be happy, right? It's like it's a very natural thing. We all have it, you know. If I fulfill all my desires and I have everything that I need just fulfilled, then I'll be happy. But at a certain point we realize it doesn't work. But we have to go through that. We have to try all those things to recognize that the only thing ever truly worth knowing is myself and God. And that's the only thing, is to be in that God field, in that vibration and in that feeling. And
that's that saying that resonates a lot with me. Know thyself and thou shalt know the universe and God. So stop looking in the outside world. Look inside.
And then you can still have your whole thing that you do in your life. You can have your own things that you wish to do, like, you know, your goals that you were saying, and aspirations, but it becomes very light. It's not the goal. It's not the thing, you know, to like, when I get there, then, you know, it's not like that. It has to be more, for me anyway, it has to be this place that I'm already here. And from that place, then whatever happens, like, it's coming from a natural harmony within yourself. So it's not, you're not trying so hard to create something or like to manifest something. It's just naturally emanating. It's effortless.
Sam, let's touch base a little bit on Rastafari culture. Because for those who only connect to Rastafari culture, dreadlocks and joints and some reggae music and Bob Marley, like the mainstream Rastafari aspects. What does Rastafari culture mean to you? Can you give us a little bit more insight of what this is all about?
Yeah, so when I was 16, I went to Jamaica with my family, and it had a very profound impact on me. And Bob Marley's music, you know, the music of the Wailers and Burning Spear, all these great, amazing musicians from Jamaica. My dad played a lot of reggae in our house, so I was always kind of fascinated by it. And the thing that touched me most, because I listened to a lot of music growing up, great music. The thing with reggae is that it spoke to me because it's spiritual music. It's righteous music. It's a high vibration music. And it lifts the spirit. It lifts the spirit. And so for a long time, I always had this very strong connection to Rastafari. And I would listen to Bob Marley's words and the words in these songs, and I would even look in the Bible, you know. I'd have a Bible and I would find these references, you know, to Jah and to these things in the Bible.
Jah is the god of the Rastafaris.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Rastafari is the name of God for Rasta people. And really, actually, this, in lockdown, the first lockdown that happened during COVID, it came really strong, because I went on this a whole path with going to India, and you know, I met my guru and this whole thing, and then during the first lockdown I was back home in England, in the south, in Cornwall, and I started to Rastafari just came to me. It was like Rastafari just came to me and started to speak to me, and started to again listen to all this conscious music, this reggae music that I'd, you know, hadn't listened to in a while, and became very strong for me. And Rastafari for me is empowerment, liberation, freedom, enlightenment. Ras means head. Tafari means creator. It's the head creator, that's his name. Haile means power. Selassie means Trinity. So Haile Selassie is the power of the Trinity. So Haile Selassie is the emperor of Ethiopia. He was the 225th emperor, straight from the line of King David and King Solomon from the Bible, from biblical time.
Oh, wow.
And he came here on this earth to do a very profound, powerful work, to get rid of darkness and to bring light to this planet, to bring light to this earth. And he was a very powerful being, and is a very powerful being. And for me, he represents this strength and this power. And when he was crowned king in 1930, crowned emperor of Ethiopia, up until that point, the emperor had always been crowned separate to the empress. And he said, no, I will be crowned with my empress by my side. So he was always breaking down these old traditions, and he wanted equality for all people. He wants love, truth, and justice for all people. Because Haile Selassie, Rastafari, he said, until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance than the color of his eyes, there will be war. Just like the song that Bob Marley sang. Until there are no more first-class and second-class citizens of any nation, there will be war, there will be problems. We have to live in a righteous way. We have to live with love, brotherhood, sisterhood, togetherness, unity. So this is what Rastafari means to me, you know. Rastafari came to me in this time now and really showed me that I have the power within me, you know, to not be weak, to not be small, and not to be arrogant, but to be in your strength, to be in your power, to be in your kingly power, you know. And so yeah, for me, Rastafari it helps me just to express myself in this way, to be free, to be wild, to be connected to that root, you know.
So he was the father of Rastafari culture, could you say that?
No, he is Rastafari. So Rastafari is the emperor of Ethiopia.
Okay.
So in the Bible, Christ said, I will return. Within 2,000 years, I will return to this earth, but I will have a new name. And so Marcus Garvey in Jamaica, who is like a man who in Jamaica was like very for like black rights, you know, for black people to stand up against the colonial slave rule. which had beaten out of them their African culture, had told them, you cannot speak that language, and if you speak that language, I beat you. They would cut their locks and tell them to be like the Europeans, and so this came as like a rebellion, that we're not going to bow down to these slave masters, that we're going to be empowered in ourselves, and we're going to live in peace and harmony. And Marcus Garvey said, look to the east, for a king will be crowned. And this will be the Redeemer. This will be the return of the Messiah. And he will come to liberate the people. And so...
Did he actually go to Jamaica? Or?
He did. Yeah. He did go to Jamaica. And black people in Jamaica, and across the world, had been taken from Africa as slaves. And had their culture taken away from them. So a lot of black people in Jamaica saw him as their way to reconnect to this African roots, to this their heritage, and I think that for many people, when he was crowned, it was seen as this biblical thing, because he was from the bloodline of King David and King Solomon, the Queen of Sheba. His name was the King of Kings. He was crowned the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, which is a reference from the Bible, So
interesting how those traditions always match back to some deeper meanings of Christianity, for example.
Yeah, it's very deep.
Like the essence of, like the essence of all those spiritual traditions and religions always remain the same, it seems. They always kind of interconnect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so for me, like the more that I've gone into this tradition, the more that I've found for myself also a great liberation to not just be conditioned by this colonial mindset, and to not just to be a product of this culture that I was brought up in, growing up in Britain and England, But I always...
It's kind of an irony in itself.
Exactly, but I always felt this sense of I always could understand patois, I could understand, like when I was in Jamaica at 16, I understood what people were saying.
The language of the Rastas.
And I could understand, and I felt this resonance, this knowing, just as I felt with Babaji, just as I felt with Ramanan, just as I felt with many things. It was the same thing, that same resonance of truth, of life, because Rastafari is life, and Rastafari is all about stepping out of Babylon, which is this mindset which keeps us very small, and it doesn't have respect for life, it doesn't have respect for nature or for people. It takes and takes and takes, but it doesn't give. This is Babylon. And so Rastafari is the way out of Babylon. Rastafari is liberation. Rastafari is love, one people, one heart, because we all come from the same source. And that's why in Rastafari they say I and I, they won't say me and you, because we come from the same source, the same one.
And I.
I and I, I and I. Yeah.
And now the circle is kind of closing, because you have recorded your first reggae album in Maui last year, I know, and now it's soon being published.
Yes, on Oahu. Oahu.
Oh, Oahu, yeah,
Oahu.
okay.
Yeah. So on Oahu I recorded this album, and this is where it all was coming from this time, during COVID and all this stuff. A lot of songs were coming through. And I was seeing what was going on in the world, and it was really, it was penetrating somewhere inside of me, because I really want to see people live in harmony. I want to see people live in love and together, And in this time there was a lot of segregation and a lot of, divide and rule.
Yeah.
The unvaccinated, the vaccinated, all these things, keeps people separate.
Yes.
And so a lot of fire was coming inside of me to write this album, and a lot of these songs were just coming through. The deeper I was connecting with Rastafari and myself and going on this journey, then these songs started to come. And so I have this album. One of the songs from the album is called I and I, inspired by a Rasta elder in Jamaica that was speaking this beautiful wisdom. And
I'm so excited to listen to that album soon. When is it coming out?
It will come when it's ready.
Okay. You already answered that question. I remember when it's ready.
I'm not sure. I don't have a date set, but I will know when it's
We'll keep our eyes and ears open.
Yes, soon come.
Sam, one more question. In those times of turmoil, in those difficult times for so many people, times of change, times of uncertainty, times of facing the unknown and not really doing what to do with it. You have shared so much wisdom in this interview now, but is there one message you would like people to understand that can help in those times of difficulties and uncertainty, to use that as a chance, as a driving force for awakening to their higher truth? What would that be?
Yeah, I feel that within each and every one of us we have the power to bring any situation, as chaotic as it may be, into harmony, and to see that everything is God's grace. You know, whatever it may be, just to keep saying, as my guru taught me, to just keep saying thank you. You know, whatever it may be, just to keep saying thank you, because God's grace is so infinite, we cannot even fathom, you know, with our minds. Our minds are like a grain of sand on the beach of existence. It's just a tiny aspect of the totality of the whole. The mind can never fathom or understand the greatness of God. No one's mind can. But we can know it inside of us. We can know inside the heart of us that God is here. The kingdom of heaven is within. And each one has that power. Each one of us has that power. And to just remain in that place of gratitude, to come back. Maybe it's not always easy, you know. Sometimes we have to stumble a little bit. We have to fall. We have to, you know, go on all kinds of journeys and pathways. But ultimately, it always comes back to this place that everything is okay. Everything is fine in the bigger picture. And to, you know, from this place, naturally we do good. We see our brothers and our sisters and we help where we can help, you know. And it's a natural outpouring of love. We're not seeing each other as strangers anymore. That's what I feel is like, the more we come back to this place of our true selves, no one's a stranger anymore. It's one family, one people. We live on one planet with one sun. We have the same color blood, our heart is in the same place. And to remember that, you know, and to never judge anyone or to look down upon anyone, because everyone is where they need to be. And maybe even somebody who you may look at and think, whoa, they even have something to teach us. And I told you the story, and I know Ricardo shared the story about stay open to life, but I would like to share that last time we were in Costa Rica, this man was, you know, like a homeless man just kind of walking on the street. And to anyone, maybe they see him and they're like, whoa, I don't want to be near him, you know? Yeah.
Instant judgment.
Yeah, judgment of, you know, fear, just like something. And I was outside, you know, we just stopped to get some water to fill our thing. And this man was like walking past us. And we're both just standing there having a drink, and he looks at us in the eyes and he just says, stay open to life, and smiles and goes on his way. He doesn't ask for money, doesn't want anything. If anything, he gave something to us. He gave a blessing to us, and in that moment I knew this is God. This is God. And how many times we have turned God away, how many times we have turned the other way. I don't want to. So to see everyone as everything in life is a blessing, and the more that we stay open to life, the more we can receive, and the more we can give. The more we're closed, it's a very shallow place. We will not blossom here. We have to keep our heart open. And one time I was in California, I just walked into a nice bookstore, and there was a picture on the wall, and it had this an image of a man, and he was opening like this, and his chest was like a heart, and it said, nothing is worth closing your heart for. Nothing is worth closing your heart for. So like this, you know, it's just the message is always just to stay open, to receive God in all of his ways, and to just give thanks for life. Give thanks for life.
And I give my deepest thanks, gratitude and appreciation for you, my brother, and this beautiful, inspiring interview. There's nothing more I want to add. I'm sure I could ask you 100 more questions, but I think for the time being, everything is being said, and I want to thank you so much for being here.
Sebastian, take it again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
Blessings on your journey.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to your reggae album.
Yeah. Soon come.